Hey, good evening. Today I'm going to teach you the very basics of how to drive a car. We're in a wide, flat, empty area. Perfect place to practice for newcomers. The model I'll be demonstrating with today is an HE Cruiser. This car is an automatic, but you can apply most of what I'll teach you here in a clutch as well. The car's parked right now, engine's off, nothing's happening, so I'm going to hop in, stick the key in the ignition, and turn it one tick clockwise. And then I'll start running the car off a car battery, and I'll turn the lights on. That can run idle for a short time, but if it drains, and you put the key in, it won't turn on. If that happens, you'll need to pop open the hood, attach some jumper cables to the battery, and charge it up manually. That's outside of the scope of this guide, but it's good to know your maintenance. Before we get in the car, or before we turn on the engine, let's just get familiar with the controls. Some of it is obvious, like your headlights, your radio, your high velocity eject button, and your horn. Right? But the most important controls that you'll find in any car are the foot pedals. The small one on the right is your accelerator, and the large one on the left is your brake. It's important to not get those mixed up while you're on the road, and that's why we're in a nice wide open area, so there's very little risk to making mistakes like that. Now the first thing that I want you to do when you get in a car is adjust your seat's position so that you're upright and you can easily touch both of your pedals with your right foot. Now you could have your seat slumped back, one hand on the wheel, and the other hand holding a double bacon cheeseburger that you're eating while on the road. But I don't recommend that. And even in the driver's manual that comes with this car, actually, you can read here. Studies show that proper sitting posture while driving is correlated with higher efficiency and a more positive outlook on life. Good posture is important for safety on the road, don't forget about it. Now the second thing that I want you to do is adjust your car's mirrors so that you can see clearly behind you in all three of them. This car doesn't have any mirrors, so I suppose we'll just have to make do. And last but not least, always wear your seatbelt in the driver's seat. You never know if today you're going to be in an accident, and if you are, this seatbelt is what's going to keep you alive. This car doesn't have seatbelts either. Alright, let's start the car. I'm going to hold down on my brake and turn my key. Come on. Piece of shit fucking car. Jesus, there we go. Okay, now if I push down on the accelerator, nothing happens. And that's because we're still in park. This stick on your right is the gear shift, colloquially referred to as the Prindle, and that's an acronym meaning park, reverse, neutral, drive, and low gear. This car only has park, reverse, and drive, but that's really okay. That's all we'll need for now. The gear shift controls what happens when you push down the accelerator, so in drive, you'll move forward, in reverse, you'll move backward, and in park, you will not move at all. So, to get out of park, hold down your brake, and put the gear shift into drive. Just a side note here, if your car uses buttons here instead of a stick, you need to go to your dealership and ask your dealer to give you the rest of the car. He fucking cheated you. Alright, so, let's get moving. I'll tap lightly on the accelerator, and I'll slowly push down on the brake. After you have some gas running through your car, it'll just slowly keep moving on its own, and you have to push the brake on it to stop. This means you can keep a consistent speed by just holding down nothing and keeping your wheel straight. I don't have much room in front of me, so let's make a U-turn. I'm going to push my wheel all the way to the left, counterclockwise, tap down the accelerator, and then I'll straighten out and get some speed. On the left side of your wheel, you'll find a lever that controls your blinker. It's always a good habit to use that anytime you're going to make a turn, to signal to other drivers where you're going to go. This car doesn't have blinkers either, which, hey, Makes me no worse than most of the people you'll see on the road, right? You'll notice along this stretch, I'm making a habit of staying on the right side of the road. I live in the Americas, otherwise known as the Cum. I suppose if you're British, you might just watch this video in a mirror. Now, coming up to these crates in this docking bay, you have to be mindful that you're sitting on one side of the car, and you're always going to have a broadside. On my left, I'm quite narrow, but on my right, I have a whole load of baggage that I need to keep track of. So while I'm making some more narrow moves through this docking bay, I have to keep in mind that I have a large broadside on my right, and I have to keep it from hitting anything. Nice and smooth, just like that. Don't panic. If you do panic, press your brake. The easiest way to keep anything bad from happening on the road is to pull over somewhere out of the way and hit the brake. Now, if I'm going to get some speed, if I turn too sharp, holy fuck, holy shit, I'll spin out. The faster you're going, the more shallow you're going to want to make your turns. And the other way around, the sharper you need to turn, the slower you need to go. Nice and smooth, just like that. Alright, let's head back to the docking bay. Alright, I'm going to turn to the right here and take a quick park. Alright, now I'm going to teach you about reversing. Driving in reverse is the hardest part of learning to drive for the first time. To demonstrate, if I turn my wheel to the left, or counterclockwise, put her in reverse, and tap the accelerator, from our perspective that's moving me to the right, which just feels wrong. If I get out and take a look at my wheels here, you'll see that they're still tilted to the left. They haven't changed. And you have to remember that the gear shift can't change the way the wheels will work. The way to think about this is if I get in and look behind me, now I have my wheel turned to what is now my right. And if I hit the accelerator, I'm turning to what is now my right as well, and suddenly all the angles make sense again. Alright, I'm going to try to navigate my way to my designated parking spot. I think I make my turn now. Alright. I'm going to go and park, and let's get out and admire our handiwork. Okay, and if you're following along, that's your first test drive in a car. Well done, pat yourself on the back. And one last thing to end off this session. If you're in a car that needs you to use an iPad to change the radio or turn on your windshield wipers, here's what you do. Find your car's manufacturer, travel to their headquarters, and floor your vehicle directly into their reception desk.